You are listening to the EPT Works Listen, Love, Give podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Annette Cargioli, the Forgiveness Doctor. I'm here to help you create phenomenal health, happiness, and new life with energy, intuition, and forgiveness. In a world where emotional health is often treated with mind-altering drugs or years of talk therapy, it's time for more compassionate, imaginative initiatives in emotional health care. EPT is short for Emotional Polarity Technique, an innovative holistic emotional therapy that will change your life and health for good. You can learn more about Emotional Polarity Technique through my new book, The Forgiveness Doctor, available on Amazon.com. You can subscribe to this podcast, get free EPT training at EPTworks.com, and like us on Facebook. Welcome, everybody. This is number 64. And today, this podcast, I'm going to be giving you Chapter 10 from my book, The Forgiveness Doctor. Chapter 10, Ready for a Change? EPT Works. Way back in 1992, when I first learned of an energy emotional healing, I was ready for a change. I had just given birth to my fourth child. All of my children were under the age of 7. My marriage was under considerable stress as my husband and I split our hours at the chiropractic office so our kids would have at least one parent at home. Aside from the obvious stress in our relationship, there was a deeper division emerging between us. I was a believer, and my husband, Ron, was not. Our differing viewpoints were not just theological, but also philosophical. I chose faith, and Ron did not. At this time, we were also in a mess with the IRS, who insisted that we owed more in taxes and fees than we even earned in 1 year. This conflict was giving me night terrors, and I imagined armed IRS agents swooping into my house amidst my small children. It was my belief in God that sustained me. In Romans 8:28, I read, "All things work together for good to them that love God." Because I believed in God and loved God, I believed and trusted that in spite of all of this, my life could be better than I could make it. I have walked you through how EPT works, as well as some of the ways EPT has changed my life and the lives of others for good. EPT as a healing technique is not dependent on the belief or faith of the person receiving it. Even if you do not believe in God, EPT can help you to move closer to the changes you wish to make in your life. However, I believe that once you become witness to the positive changes that can take place with EPT, you open the door of your soul to experience greater faith in a God who loves you and is there for you. Because of my faith in a God who loves me, I was open to changes happening in my life that were beyond all my expectations. I already understood how most of human behavior is automatic. This is why a family born in the ghetto will stay there for generation after generation. A child automatically creates the same life their parent created. I knew I was a part of creating the mess in my life due to my own negative emotional programming from childhood and also from generational loyalties created by my family. Without hesitation, I was ready to find it and let go of whatever it was that was holding me back from a life that felt more peaceful, loving, and abundant than the one I had created. My older sister, Linda, was also ready for a change, and she jumped on board for emotional healing as well. Linda had spent over 20 years of her life morbidly obese. She was determined to find and let go of whatever was holding her back from the self-love that she needed to create a healthier body and a better relationship with her husband. Google wasn't even invented yet, but I was already quickly finding the answers I was seeking at the end of my fingertips through muscle testing. The freedom that forgiveness brought was more than a release. It became a way of life. Through forgiveness, I was seeking to return love to every space in my life I could not love. As the dark places in your life are transformed into love, your life experience begins to change. You are no longer creating more of what you know out of the energy of anger, loss, hurt, failure, or disappointment of your past. You are free to create out of the energy of love and acceptance. Transformational change in your life becomes inevitable and miracles are made possible. So what is the change you are ready for? Do you need to create a completely new life? To love your life more? To heal your body? To let go of a relationship that is hurting you? To attract a life partner? To lose weight? To let go of chronic pain? To give up a dependency on drugs or alcohol? To pay off a debt? To feel better about a loss in your life? To feel better about your job? To move on after a divorce? To create more income? I have come to believe that it is quite the miracle for a person, any person, to create something that is completely new in their life. Just try to think of people you personally know who have actually changed their lives into something completely different. Those who have done this will usually tell you it was because of God. They are acknowledging that they could not have made the changes without divine intervention. People tend to feel safer and more secure with what they know and are familiar with. Letting go of what is familiar in your life, even if you don't like it, is not as easy as you may think it is. It is crucial for you to let go of what you know to make space for something brand new. The first step is deciding that what you believed impossible in your life is possible. For many who are reading this book, EPT may sound impossible. You may have to let go of all your ideas about how healing must take place in order to believe in something that sounds crazy and impossible. After EPT, people have reported that engaging the assistance of an EPT practitioner supports a level of change in their lives that far surpasses traditional counseling, traditional medicine, and self-help methods. EPT is just a tool that aligns you with forgiveness and love in all the dark places in your life. It is the forgiveness and love that heals you and opens the door to your dreams coming true. It exists and is made possible because of God. With the use of EPT, my husband and I made a decision to love every IRS agent we had to deal with. We even had a few agents show up at our office with guns in their holsters. Not kidding. Another agent showed up demanding cash payment of $50,000. We went out of our way to be polite and kind. We invited him to discuss this at our home. When he came, we treated him as an honored guest. He never came back. As our dispute with the IRS over the amount we owed continued, the penalties and fees continued to grow at a rate that exceeded our own income growth. Our agent told us the only way we could end this was if we declared bankruptcy. She explained that all but $7,000 qualified for bankruptcy. She said we would have to wait at least 3 years before the IRS would consider an offer in compromise. Since bankruptcy was our only option, we took it. About 4 years later, we consulted with some tax experts about forming our offer. They suggested to us that we would most definitely pay something, but could possibly pay as little as half of the amount. We were ready to be finished with this problem. Ron called our IRS agent and told her we were ready to set up an offer in compromise. She responded by telling Ron there was nothing left to pay. I still remember this like it was yesterday. It was a cold February day. She said our account had been deleted the previous November. One consultant we were planning to work with on an offer was simply shocked. He said we were very lucky. In over 20 years of working with the IRS, he had never seen the IRS do such a thing. This was not what we thought would happen. It was so much better. Linda was over 100 pounds overweight. Once she recognized how EPT could transform her life, she used sessions with me to release her need to be fat. She immediately lost about 60 pounds and then went up and down for a while. Even so, she never gave up on the process of EPT. Her first hurdle was the discovery that her closest relationship, her husband, was dependent on her being fat and useless. She courageously tackled her relationship issues within her marriage and her early childhood. Her marriage relationship came near divorce and then was miraculously transformed. Now she was free to transform her body. Soon she hit a point where she was able to do exactly what was necessary to lose all the weight. She even had surgery to remove excess skin. After her recovery from surgery, she slowly started gaining her weight back. 3 years later, she had gained almost all the weight she had lost. She announced that she had done it on her own before, and now she was doing it with God. She added prayer to her weight loss plan. She utilized EPT when the weight loss plateaued. Linda realized that her challenge was not in losing weight, but in maintaining her ideal weight. We had done EPT on losing weight, and now we were doing it on maintaining ideal weight. This was something she had never successfully done. She lost all the weight again, going from a size 24 to a size 12. This time she refined expertise in healthy weight loss, becoming an expert in maintaining ideal weight. Her life has become better than she ever dreamed. On top of that, she became an expert in grain-free cooking and eating. Now she helps people transform their health and their pantry by completely changing the way they eat into something better than they ever thought possible. Linda's up and down cycle with weight contains a very important lesson when working with long-term goals. Her focus was constantly on losing weight, even after she had lost the weight she wanted to lose. Since her focus continued to be on losing weight, she had to gain weight in order to accomplish that goal. Once she changed her focus to maintaining her ideal weight, she no longer had to gain weight in order to lose it. This lesson can be incredibly valuable when working with clients suffering from chronic and long-term illnesses. If your focus is always on getting healthy, then once you are healthy, you must become unhealthy in order to accomplish your goal. It is always important to acknowledge exactly where you are on your path to change and revise goals that do not apply to your current situation. The more effective way to focus is being grateful for the healthiness that is already present in your life, which allows you to remember your own wholeness and to change your perception of what is. For years, my greatest sadness was the deep division I felt in my relationship with Ron. I wanted it to change. I loved God with all my heart, and I taught my children to love God in their lives. While Ron did not interfere with my godly, goody-two-shoes child training, he also did not offer any spiritual support to me or our children. I was annoyed that he had no faith, and to make matters worse, he didn't seem to care that he had no faith. He wasn't interested in EPT either. It was fine for me, but he really wanted no part of it. He showed no interest in letting go of anything that may have been holding him back. I wanted to change Ron, but my experience with EPT taught me that it was I who had to change. All my Christian upbringing of being holier than thou had to be evicted from my soul and replaced with genuine, benevolent love and acceptance for Ron. I needed to switch my focus on changing Ron to instead forgive and release what existed in me that needed more love. This was part of the spiritual change God was walking me through when my revered icon of faith and Bible knowledge, my brother, gave me the boot. In addition, each of my children had come to terms with the lack of belief they encountered in their dad. My kids and I were living like an alcoholic family with a secret. We talked openly about Ron's lack of faith with each other, but there was an unspoken rule to never speak to him about it. Although Ron proclaimed he was an unbeliever, there was never a time where he stood in the way of my belief. He actually acted out of greater kindness and acceptance for my faith than I did for his lack of faith. Through EPT, my children and I released sadness, anger, judgment, superiority, and loss so that we could love Ron the way God loved us, even if Ron never changed. Then the unexpected happened. Ron, raised Catholic, decided to return to his faith. It seemed to happen out of nowhere. One day, Ron was his usual agnostic self, and the next day, he was reading the Bible, praying, kneeling in church, and humbling himself to God. Even he wasn't sure what happened. He just knew he needed God in his life. Our children were shocked and happy. Having been raised to look down on the Catholic Church, I'd never imagined that having a Catholic husband would bring me such joy. This was not where I thought I was going. It's so much better. EPT can identify and release your past programming that is currently writing your life story too. Forgiveness is the act of infinite love and gratitude that opens the door to what God has always wanted for your life. You become free to experience life in a more fun and exciting way. You get to open your heart to a love that is bigger than you ever have known. Hurt from your past will become irrelevant as you begin to create your life out of the energy of divine love. Yes, you will be happier. Yes, your health will get better. Yes, your relationships will get better. Yes, your success will get better. That's how God's love operates. So get ready for a change. This is not where you thought you were going. It's so much better. Now glory be to God, who in his mighty power at work within us is able to do far more than we would ever dare to ask or even dream of, infinitely beyond our highest prayers, desires, thoughts, or hopes. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to this podcast, like us on Facebook, and go get your free training at eptworks.com. I'm Dr. Annette Cargioli, the Forgiveness Doctor. Until next time, listen, love, give. EPT works.